Hello, this is capital budgeting exercise part 1. And in part 1, we use a simple exercise to demonstrate how NPV is computed. So our question is, XYZ intends to invest 200,000 in a project which will generate Kenya shillings 80,000 in the first 3 years of operations and Kenya shillings 20,000 in the final year of the project. The cost of capital is currently 10%. So A, find the net present value of the project. B, graphically show the internal rate of return of the project. C, use solver to find the internal rate of return of the project. And then D, use scenario manager to find NPV at different initial investment cost. Now in this exercise, I'll use two methods. The first one is the manual method, and then the second one using the NPV function in Excel. So what you need to do is, first of all, to have your time. How many years? So 80,000 comes in the first 3 years and 20,000 in the final year. So this is a 4-year project. So 1, 2. I'll increase the font. Okay. Then 2, I need to put down the cash flows. So in the first year, 80,000 comes in. In the second year, another 80,000 comes in. In the third year, 80,000 comes in. And in the fourth year, 20,000 comes in. Now, we are told the initial investment is 200,000. So what you need to do is to come here and insert a row and call this time period 0. And for time period 0, you paid out 200,000. So negative 200,000. That is a cash outflow. Now, we require the discount factor at 10%. That's the cost of capital. So I'll increase the font again. Okay, so what we basically want is one plus R power N. That is what we want. Now, in year 0, it is 1 over 1 plus R power 0. So that what I'm saying is, you'll say equals, we can use this 1 and put a $sign on it because the numerator will not change. So 1 divided by brackets, again 1. So put $sign plus R. R is 10%. So our discount rate is 10%. So that 10%, let me click there. I'll write there 10%. Yeah. So 1 plus 10% power 0. 0 is the initial investment. Now, double click there. Where you say this, we are supposed to have the 10%. So I write 10% here. So 10%. Now, what we are going to do is linking. Yeah. You link cells. So what we've done here is we've linked 1, 10, and power 10. So that if I change this 10 to say 12, yeah, the discount factor will change. Now, since our computation is correct for year 0, what I'm supposed to do is to simply copy that down, and it gives me the discount factors. We know 1 over 1 plus r power 1 will give you 0.909. That we know. Okay, so let me remove this. In the next cell, what you are supposed to do is to have the net cash flow. So the net cash flow will be cash flow times the discount factor. So equals 200,000 multiplied by 1. And because when you go to year 1, it will be 80 times 0.909, we do not put $sign on this. So you enter and you have your 200,000. And then again, we copy this down up to there. So if I double click there, you can see it's 20,000 multiplied by 0.683013,455. So then to get the NPV of this project, what you're supposed to do is to sum the net cash flows. So you can either use sigma or simply equal sum, then you pick the cash flows that you require. In our case, we require all the cash flows because for NPV, all the cash flows are relevant and therefore they are taken into consideration when computing the number. So our NPV is 12,608.43. And I said, this is the manual method. This is the manual method of computing NPV. So method 1. Now I want to go to method 2. And method 2 is the ideal method because this function is in Excel. So method 2, and we'll use the NPV function. So for method 2, what I'll do is to first copy the cash flows. So copy, then I'll go to paste special. I want to paste special. So you can see paste, formulas, values, etc. I want to transpose this and put them, the cash flows, down here. So I want to put the cash flows below method 2, down here. So you go to edit, paste special, transpose, and you say okay. So now the cash flows are in row 20. So instead of the vertical ones, I'll put them in a row. So they're no longer in column, but in rows. So this is my year 0. This is year 1, year 2. The same thing that we had in the first method. So the years remain, nothing will change. Now, what is our discount rate? So disc rate, our discount rate is 10%. What is our NPV? So I've already said we have this function in Excel. So what we'll do, we'll go to FX, this FX. So insert function, and then you're able to see NPV, IRR, sum, average, if, hyperlink, count, max, sin, sum, if. Now we are interested in NPV. Yeah, we are interested in NPV. So you click on NPV and you are asked to state what the rate is. please don't type in the rate. Simply click on this 10%. Yeah. And then you go to the next part. And it is value 1. So you are requested to put in value 1. So value 1 means from year 1 onwards. So I'll pick from 80,000 up to 20,000. So I've picked the relevant values. Then I say, okay. Now, what I have here, you can, sorry. A small mistake. Okay, so I'll repeat this. So rate is 10%. Value you put from year 1 because we do not discount year 0. So you take that up to year 4 and then you say, okay. Now you can see this is 212, but if you double click, you'll be able to see one cash flow has been left out, the year 0 cash flow. Now, we do not discount year 0. So what you do, you add year 0 outside the brackets. So plus the year 0 cash flow, then enter. So we have the same NPV, 12,608.43. So if you don't have Excel and you have just a few years, you can go by method 1. You can go by method 1 and you'll get the NPV of your project. If there are few years, if it is 10 years, that will be very cumbersome computing. Now, but because you know how to use Excel, go for method 2, which is faster, very, very easy to use. So we've computed the NPV of this project. So the next thing we need to do is to find out what the internal rate of return is using goal-seek. So for you to use goal-seek, you go to data, go to what if, then you will find goal-seek. Goal-seek will tell us what the internal rate of return of this project is. And what is internal rate of return of this project? This is the highest discount rate that will give you an NPV equals to 0. So what we do is we click on 12,608.43, that is NPV. We want the value to be 0 by changing the discount rate. Then you say, okay. So this one is telling us the IRR of this project is 13.3. I'll increase the decimal places. It's 13.3197. So that one will give you an NPV of 0. So this is our IRR. Okay. Now, let's go back to our 10%, which gave us 12,608.43. That is our starting point. Now, goal-seek will not give you an output like solver, yeah, or scenario manager. So what I want to do is to go to solver and find, I want to go to solver and find out what the IRR of this project is. So I go to tools, down, I get solver. So solver does the same thing. What is it you want to solve? Yeah. I want the IRR of this project. So what is my objective? My objective is to make the NPV of this project, which is 12,608.43, to value 0. I want it to value 0 because IRR is where you have NPV equals to 0. The red, that will give you an NPV of 0. So I want to change our discount rate, which is this one. And then I tell Solver to solve this for me. So it has solved and it has found a solution. So I click on answer and then I tell it, give me an answer report. And there is an answer report here. You can see part 1 and then answer report 1. In the answer report, it says at 13.3197, you get NPV equals to 0. So that is how Solver helps us. If we want to know at what rate we'll get an NPV of 2,000, we can still set that one and Solver will be able to give us an answer. For example, let's go back to our 10%. If I go to Solver and I tell Solver, I want you to give me a value of 2,000. Yeah. I want a discount rate that will give me an NPV of 2,000. Then I come here and tell it, change for me the discount rate. And I say, solve. Yes, it says Solver found a solution. So you click on answer and you tell it, give me that answer. So you look at answer report 2 and it tells you for you to get an NPV of 2,000, we'll be talking about a discount rate of about 12.7698%. That one will give you an NPV of 2,000. So that is how we use Solver. So let's go back again to 10%, our original discount rate. So let's go back to the questions. So we've done question A, we've done question C. Let's go to question B. Graphically show the internal rate of return of the project. We know it is 13.3%. So what we are supposed to do is to generate rates from 0%, 1%, 2%. You can use fill or you can copy this up to, since it is 13, you need to go beyond 13. So let's say 15%. Then I'll increase the font here. Okay, NPV. So we have the rate and then NPV. Now, if you want to generate this using data table, first of all, you need to know the formula that gave you the NPV of 12,608.43. That is a formula you are going to type against 0%. So you look at this formula and it says equals NPV. So equals NPV, brackets, C21 is the discount rate, comma, then D20 to G20. You close the brackets and then add the initial investment of 200,000. So I'll type that one here. So equals NPV, brackets, D21, sorry, D20, D20, no, C21, correct, C21. So it has picked the discount rate, C21. And then the cash flows start from year 1. So D20. Yeah. And they go on up to year 4, which is G20. So G20. So we picked that correctly. And you can see it is highlighting what we picked, and we know we picked correctly. So outside the brackets, you add the 200,000, the initial investment, then enter. So it gives you 12,608.43. That is the NPV that we computed. Now, we want a data table. And the beauty of the data table is that you cannot change part of the table. Yeah. So you come here and highlight these two columns, and then you go to data, then you see what if analysis, data table. Now, what do you want? First of all, the cursor is in raw input cell. We are not interested in row because these two K and L are columns. So put your cursor in column. So what do you want? I want Excel to compute for me the NPVs at these given discount rates. So I'll tell Excel, with these discount rates, tell me what the NPV is. So under column input cell, click on the discount rate that gave us an NPV of 12,608.43, and you say, okay. So it has computed for us. And if you look at 10%, it is 12,608.428. So that is right. Okay. So the next thing you do is to now get the graph. So to get the graph, you highlight from 1% up to 15%. And then you go to insert. Charts are here. So I'll click there, XY scatter, the smooth one, and it gives me a graph. So I'll bring this graph down. So the graph is down here. I can expand it, make it large. So this is a downward sloping curve. And you can see the IRR is between 12 and 14, but this is not good enough. So we can change the scale. So double click on the horizontal axis, those numbers, and it tells you the major unit is 2. So 2%, 4%, 6. We want it to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So you put 1 and you say enter. So it gives us 1, 2, 3. Now you can see the IRR is between 13 and 14. Now, for discount rates from 0 up to the IRR point, all these discount rates give us positive NPV. The moment you pass the IRR rate, this point, on your right, 14, 15, you go into negative zone. So if the discount rate is greater than the IRR, you will end up with a negative NPV as your answer. But if the discount rate is less than the IRR, yeah, you end up with a positive NPV. So this is the graph. You can change the legend if you wish, but for now, we'll stop at simply the chart. We can play around with the chart, the background, etc., but we'll do that in capital budgeting exercise part 2. So we have the graphical presentation. So the next thing we are supposed to do is to use scenario manager so that we can compute the NPV of this project at the different initial investment cost. So here we are. Again, you go to your data, go to what if analysis, go to scenario manager. Now, the scenario is asking for certain information. No scenarios defined. Choose add. So this is plus, that is add. So we'll give these numbers name. So investment 1. What is the change in sale? Our change in sale is the cost of the investment, which is 200,000. So that is the figure we want to change from 200 to 150 to 180 to 250 to 300. Now it is negative because it was a cash outflow. So I'll put 200,000. So I clicked on that, enter. So what is the new number we want? The new number is negative 150,000, a cash outflow of 150,000 to buy the equipment. What would be the NPV? Then we add investment 2, supposing it is 180,000. Yeah. So negative 180,000. We add investment 3 was 250,000. Sorry, investment 3, 250,000. Add. Then investment 4, negative 300,000. Now we've finished, so there is nothing to add. You say okay. Now you can see investment 1, 2, 3, 4. If you made a mistake, you can go to edit and edit the numbers. But we picked the numbers correctly, and we can confirm that. We can check. This was 150, that is correct. For investment 2, it was negative 180, that is correct. Investment 3, negative 250,000, that is correct. Investment 4, it is negative 300,000, and that is correct. So now we want a summary. A summary of what? These figures, the investment values, we want to see what the NPV is. With these cash flows that we have, what would be the NPV? So ask for summary. Now, it defaults things that you don't require. So what you do, delete what it defaults and ask yourself what it is you want. What do you want? We said for those given figures, we want to know what the NPV is. So you click on 12, 6 or 8, and then you say, okay. Yeah, so this is what it is telling us. At 200,000, our NPV was positive 12, 6 or 8.43. At 150,000, the NPV will be 62,000. At 180,000, the NPV will be 32. At 250,000, the NPV will be 37,391. And at 300,000, the NPV will be 87,391.57. What assumption did we make? That the cash flows will remain the same. That is one. That the discount rate will remain 10%. And therefore, you end up with this scenario summary telling you if you purchase the equipment at 150 with these same cash flows, yeah, your NPV will be 62. If you purchase the equipment at 300,000 with these same cash flows, the NPV will be negative 87,391.57. So friends, we've finished part 1. Next time we meet, we look at part 2, where we have a more complex example. Thank you so much.